what I wanted to talk about today is not what I actually originally, what I was originally going to talk about. Originally I was going to talk about suitability, and then I figured about 2 to 3 minutes into my presentation, you guys would get that glassed over look and what the hell is he talking about? Because it's not really relevant to what you guys do. It's not really, it's relevant to what I do, but not really relevant to what you do. So I wanted to talk about something that I think is relevant to all of us, and it's saving for retirement. Because it's pretty important to me. I'm in finance. I've been in finance for about 15 years. I work in supervision, so I make sure that financial advisors aren't doing silly things for their clients. So I wanted to talk about saving for retirement, and we all want to get there, right? So this is sort of this upward curve. And before we start, I want you guys to think about a dollar. How much is a dollar worth to you today? Well, I mean, it's not really worth much more than a dollar. But think about what a dollar is worth to you in 30 years when you can't replace this dollar. So in my other class for the MBA, the managerial decision making, it was, they talk about that humans and people in general are pretty terrible at guessing expectations. And they're even more terrible at figuring out value. And they're even worse at both of those things the further you go out into the future. So try and guess how much you think this dollar is worth in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And then think about that if you could not replace that dollar. If something becomes irreplaceable, what is it now worth to you? So that's just something I want you to think about as we talk about retirement. So I just want to go into 3 things we'll cover. Why saving for retirement is important, why start now, and what you can do tomorrow, because you can't really do it today. But so why is saving important? So let's bring on the numbers here. So the average retirement age is 62. The expected retirement age is 66. That's what most people think they're going to retire at, but they usually retire early. The average American spends 20 years in retirement. So you have 20 years that you're going to need income for. That if you go on the web, this number is sort of kooky, and the reason it's kooky is it depends on what kind of lifestyle you want. But the average, they say, if you go online, it's about $1 million. But if you want to live a better lifestyle, you're going to need more than $1 million. If you're okay with less, then you can use less than $1 million. And there's a rule known as the 4% withdrawal rule that says you can only withdraw 4%. But there's some new research that says it's not even 4%, it's actually 3%. So if you have $1 million, the most you can take out of your account in any 1 year is $30,000. So just kind of go through those numbers in your head. Now also keep in mind, this doesn't take into consideration Social Security. It's only really just your retirement savings. So let's take a look at some surveys, and the survey says that almost 31% of respondents to a Federal Reserve survey in 2014 said that they have no retirement savings. So it's essentially 1 in 3 of you in this room have no retirement savings, which is actually supposed to be expected because we have students. So that includes students. But you still think that's still a large number, that something so important is, so there's not a lot of people that have those retirement savings. Now, another survey said that of the people who had retirement savings, 36% of them had less than $1,000. So if we go back to that 3% rule, it means you can only take out $30 a year on your $1,000. So, thinking about that, it's kind of like, well, why is savings important? This is a good sort of baseline on why it's important. So why do we want to start saving now? Well, do we have a rich uncle? Oh no, I do not have a rich uncle. But when we talk about our uncle here, Social Security may not always be there. And the Social Security trustee says that in the year 2033, the reserves will be gone. So that doesn't mean that it's going to stop. That just means that they're going to pay you 25% less. So if for every $100 you thought you were going to get after 2033, you're now only going to get 75. So when you combine that with right now, the average payment for Social Security is about $1,300 per month, just take that $1,300 and cut off 25%, and that's what you're going to get on, kind of average. So that means that you're going to have to rely on your own savings more in the future than you will today. So if you're retiring today, great, I wish we were all retired, but we're not. So in the future, we're going to have to rely more on our own savings. The median account value is less than $60,000. So for people, the median, so before we talked about average, Now we're going to talk about median. So it's not a lot. So let's ask some, if we asked retirees what they would say, and they give advice to young people, what would they say? They'd say the most important life lesson a retiree could give a young person is start saving. The most important financial advice they could give would be to start saving earlier. But these are good reasons. But the most important reason to start saving now is, it's your life, you only have one, live it your way. You know, we all want to do the things that we want to do. We all want to retire. We all want to have those trips, those sailing, photography, whatever you want to do. It's your life, live it your way. So in order to do that, you need financial security. So how do you do it? You start saving, that's how. So just a spoonful of sugar, time, and the nature of compounding. What that means is little things over some long periods of time have greater impact. So for instance, Jonette couldn't go run a marathon tomorrow. You'd have to practice a little bit at a time in order to do that. Taking a physics test, same thing. You don't take the test tomorrow, you study. So saving is the same way. Saving over time helps you build that savings. You can't save 1 year before you're going to retire. The nature of compounding, we're going to go over that in a minute, but your interest earns interest over time. So Gary, the gentleman I work with, says that compounding is key. The earlier you start, the more time you have to recover from bad markets and unexpected expenses. So he was a financial advisor. He does supervision work. He's been in the industry for about 15 years. So he knows a lot about these types of things. So a quick little chart. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about this. Two people, Gary and Jane, 10 different years, same amount. What you notice is that Jane starts 10 years earlier. Look at the curve. The curve gets a lot bigger a lot quicker. It's because money grows exponentially. So you want to start earlier, and it works out for you in the long run. So what can you do today? 5 things. You want to get started, set a goal, know how much you need, automate your savings, you won't miss it, contribute to your 401k, meet your employer's match, it's free money. So these are the things you can do tomorrow or today. And then remember, you want to have financial freedom to do what you want in your golden years, you need financial security to do that. And in order to increase your chances of financial security in retirement, you must save. So make your money work for you by starting earlier and take advantage of compounding. And that's all I got.